Kyle, one of the big challenges of observing and analyzing any spring game is determining what's meaningful and what's not meaningful,
Yeah.
what's real football and can be applied to real football in the fall, and what's just for show and going through the motions and maybe working on some technique. I always thought that the wide receiver defensive back matchups on the perimeter were as close to real football as possible, because more so than anything else on the field, that's very similar to what you see in a regular game.
Right.
So as you go across the board, not just those matchups, but what was meaningful to you and what stands out?
I brought up one particular thing, wide receivers, and Malcom Johnson Jr. was a name that stuck out to me a lot on A-Day. He's been buried in the depth chart for a little while, and we've been asking the question, you and I have talked about it previously, who's going to be the guy who wants to make a name for themselves on this roster next to Shedrick Jackson and maybe Javarius Johnson? It could be Malcom Johnson based on the A-Day performance. Thought he showed a lot of ability out there. And actually, a lot of guys got into the mix here. Here's one thing I'm not questioning and something I can take away. The tight ends for Auburn are solid. And whether you count Landon King as a tight end or a wide receiver, the guy who made that pretty awesome grab in the end zone at the end of the A-Day game from Holden Geriner, he's just needs to be on the field. I don't care if it's a tight end. I don't care if it's a defensive back. He's just an athlete. Get him out on the field, but hopefully it's as a wide receiver or tight end. I think Brandon Frazier had a few good grabs there. In fact, he's probably the guy you're talking about at tight end, if it's not for that amazing catch by Frazier at the very end of the A-Day game. So in terms of wide receivers, there's a lot of other names. We got to see a lot of people out there getting some options, getting some throws towards them, and one or two drops. But again, it's an A-Day game. That's just kind of the thing that happens with that.